Okay, I've seen all your comments from my last video, which, by the way, thanks to all of you who watched it. 30,000 views, that's amazing. And while I admit I kinda jumped into this discussion with my own preconceptions as an artist, I can now see more clearly why some Shrek fans out there reacted to these designs the way they did.
I want to apologize to the internet.
I owe you an apology.
I'm sorry.
I'm disappointed in myself. I'm just an idiot.
And hopefully you guys can accept my apology.
I can also better see some of the flaws of some of these designs in not keeping with some key traits from the original models. However, the longer you stare at something, the more flaws you're bound to see. So are these designs worse, or are we just looking for flaws in them and having these designs clash with our previous perceptions of these characters? That's what I'm going to explore in this video. But before I do, I'm a small channel, so if you'd like that to change, hit that thumbs up and subscribe to see more videos like this. Now on with the video. So, I realized there was a mistake I made in my last video. I spent a large part of it expressing how the new Shrek designs looked more appealing to the old designs, but I didn't spend any time expressing why this was the case. But perhaps even if I did, I think some of you might think it didn't matter because the point of the originals, as a lot of you pointed out, was to go against the grain and be ugly, for lack of a better word. I think to some degree I can agree with that, but I do still think that technology also held those designs back from achieving some of the nuance and style that films of today can now achieve. Shrek was a great movie, but there's no denying some of the 3D modeling jank and some special effects were still way more primitive than what we can achieve today. There's only one clear reason I can see for why people got so upset by these redesigns. It's clear from the reactions that there is a lot of nostalgia bias that is blinding a lot of people about these redesigns and making them overreact to the point of insanity.
What's wrong with you, bro? What the heck? You tripping, bro? You tripping!
Some are even comparing it to the Sonic redesign, which, honestly, are you nuts? No. Stop it. Listen, I realize for a lot of you, you grew up with Shrek. I was a teenager when the films came out, and I liked them a lot, but I had no idea the fandom was so rabid about these films, to be honest. Hell, I didn't even know Shrek had a fan base to even get this triggered. We live and learn. Now that I got that off my chest, let's talk about what makes a character appealing to look at. In order to do that, we have to break down the basics of how to make a character. First, let's look at what made Shrek a good character design to begin with. We can tell immediately by looking at his silhouette that this is Shrek. Being instantly recognizable in silhouette form is perhaps the most important part of a character's design. Next, we need to look at the shapes that comprise our character design. We can see that Shrek is made up of a series of circles, one big one for his belly and another two for his head. This lends Shrek a friendly vibe. This shape can also mean happy and welcoming, which Shrek doesn't immediately inspire, but we know deep inside he does in fact embody these traits. So it communicates more about his character to us before Shrek does in the film itself. His brawny, square-like frame also communicates a sense of stability, strength, and trust. And these all combine to make Shrek a very likable character. Next, we go to color theory, which is perhaps the most complex part of this process. What makes Shrek who he is? The color green, accompanied by the color brown and beige. These give off an earthy feel to his character, which he certainly is that, and his green skin tone makes him feel safe and friendly. It's all about context though, and these color concepts can change depending on the story and character shape compositions. This is all very important to communicate to the viewer in order for us to be able to relate to these characters on screen. We need to feel the emotion this character is trying to evoke inside us, and that's the key here. I know you might be thinking,
what the hell are you talking about? Who are you talking to? What the hell does this have to do with anything?
what does any of this have to do with Shrek's redesign, you idiot? We're talking about Shrek's face, you dingus. His face looks all wrong. Jeez, man, take it easy. I'm just a lowly YouTuber. I'm really trying here. Please don't insult my AI profile pic again. So let's look back at Shrek's old design again. We have the same basic shape and color theory at work here in full effect. Some slight issues here might be his eyes, which are smaller and not as wide open as they could be. This might lead to some of his expressions getting lost or not reading as clearly, or his character looking more uncanny as the 3D realism at the time left a lot to be desired. Now, it's not like they couldn't achieve the same size of his facial features here in a modern day film, but the question is, does it read better for the audience? Can you feel Shrek's emotion better with this design? Or would it help if a new design were better able to open his eyes bigger, make his mouth wider, make his shape more readable, and just overall lend itself better to Shrek's actual character? Could his new head and body shape also make the audience better understand and read his character from a distance? In other words, does Shrek's redesign address these issues? The answer is yes. His character looks friendlier now. The shapes that comprise his design are exaggerated more now, so we can better understand what kind of character he is. And overall, this character will be capable of far more range of motion and emotion than Shrek's previous character. Because at the end of the day, this is an animated cartoon character, and that's the primary goal. If one day they wanted to do a live-action remake of Shrek, then they could opt for a more realistic approach and please people who don't like this new take on Shrek's design. So, why do people hate this new redesign? Well, there's a lot to appreciate from this old design. The realistic look of the designs perhaps made Shrek and crew feel more relatable, and it definitely looked different to what was coming out at the time. But I think people are missing the point of what made Shrek so great in the first place. It wasn't the specific minutiae of traits in his design. It was the point that even an ugly, unpleasant ogre can find love and friendship. That doesn't require any particular art style to tell that story effectively. Ironically, while fighting against those familiar Disney tropes, it's actually more inspired by them than you might think. Quasimodo, anyone? So I can understand the reaction to these redesigns that almost seem to fall in line with a more traditionally eye-pleasing aesthetic, such as your garden variety Disney film. But to me, I still think these new designs keep the same core philosophy of the original films, while also not being afraid to slightly push those designs even further for this new generation. As I stated in my last video, redesigns for cartoon characters are going to come about inevitably, and with Shrek, the old style, while I can agree it had its charms, was inevitably going to be updated for current times. The reaction to the redesigns is a mix of clinging to nostalgia and unfamiliarity. People don't like change, I get it. But to be honest, design appeal doesn't even really enter into it for people, because they haven't even given it a chance yet. This is a teaser trailer, and all people really see right now is a bastardization of a beloved property. I have a feeling the new designs will grow on people once the film, actually comes out, but that time is far away. This is a teaser. Some of you guys act like you've already seen the film, so my advice would be to chill out and freeze your expectations for now. And none of y'all complained when they made Puss in Boots cuter, so I'm not sure what the problem is. Either way, it's gonna be okay. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. Gets me into the algorithm and all that good shit. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.